Okay, what I'm excited about, guys, this officially for me is the highlight of the show. The Bellum stand there displaying Conquest. We're going to take some time just to appreciate just how spectacular this game is looking. So Conquest, a new fantasy war game, releasing July or?
No, it's end of June, after June 20th. We're hoping for June 20th. It might be a few days afterwards.
So releasing end of June, it's just incredible. We've had these guys in the studio. They've been building up over the course of the last couple of years. They've been working relentlessly on this. It is now nearly here, and you have got to see this, right? So if we can walk around each of the tables, guys, just to let people see the spectacle of this game, because it's the slightly over scale of it all. This is ticking every Wargamer box I possibly have. You know, the models are robust, they feel strong. I've been working with models recently, and every time I touch them, they break. I do not get that feeling from these. It feels like proper gamer models. It's just incredible. So which factions are we looking at here? So if you can just take us on a tour, guys, because it's just amazing.
Okay, well, these are the Nords. These guys actually released in November, so later on, but we want people to see the aesthetics of it and the feeling of it. The Nords are actually on take on a human faction, which is basically Vikings with ogres, sea giants, mountain giants, trolls, and units morphing into bears and wolves. So it's quite a bestial type of faction that ties in very nicely to the world of Conquest.
So give a little bit of background to Conquest itself. Just the elevator pitch. So,
well, the elevator pitch for these guys, for example, is that when the Spires, which is one of the main factions of this world, which is our take on the elves, which are aliens that manipulate biomass, when they first came, they experimented with humans because they thought they would make their perfect foot soldiers, but they were too independent of thought. So they discarded that experiment or destroyed it as they thought. And this is basically the Nords. This is what was discarded by them, and that's why there's this sense in the background that are these different monsters actually native to this world, or is it a result of their experimentation that went wrong? They was too independent of thought, so they just let them out, and they kept growing into a faction of their own, to a race of their own, where all these monsters coexist.
One of the highlights on this table is obviously the giants. They are incredible. Are both these giants from the same kit, or are they separate models? Or
they come from the same kit. Well, actually, one of the two that you see is a T-pose, but we just want to paint it up. In the giant kit, you'll be able to have multiple options. It's both ball and socket for their arms, but you have about 4 or 6 different types of arms and weaponry for them to hold. You have about 7 to 8 different heads and a lot of items to put around them, or different shoulder pads. So every giant will look unique because you can make him as you want to.
Fantastic. Right, let's move.
Tree is a loose used term, like trees and stuff like that. So you can find a lot of these stuff, in there.
They look amazing. Right, if we head on round to the next table, oh my word. If you think that table you've looked at's amazing, just take a look at this. So we've got my favorite guys here, the 100 Kingdoms. Tell us about the factions on this.
Okay, so 2 factions here. These are actually the first 2 factions we begin with. They're the Spires that we described previously, where the aliens that manipulate biomass, and actually what you see here on the table is primarily not them. It's their constructs that they've actually made. Yeah. They're fit for purpose. They're made for war. Do you want an archer firing quickly? 3 arms. You want a battering ram? I can make one for you. So basically what happens is the 100 Kingdoms are your typical medieval type humans. They have nothing over the top, no monsters, no war machines. They do have access to magic because there's quite a bit of a magic layer to this world, but they're your typical medieval humans, and that contrast between the different factions actually elevates them quite a bit. Most of the fights that we see between Spires and the 100 Kingdoms have to do with the lesser Spires negotiating trade deals with the 100 Kingdoms and the humans. And when those go awry, that's when actually we have war between the two of them, because the agenda for the Spires is completely different. It's not about actively conquering this world, it's about collecting biomass and going back to reclaim their own world.
Yeah. if I can get the cameraman to come around here and zoom in, this in 4 models is what has sold me utterly on this game. Just look at how beautiful these cavalry models are. They are so solid. They're just beautiful. Look at the flag on that. I'm going to show you the grey plastics of these in a few moments, just to see just how beautifully sculpted these are. I'm so taken by this this particular design aesthetic that you guys have chosen for this. It really has impressed me. Okay, moving over here, I think we have a couple more factions actually undergoing a battle over here. So if I pick us up and move us around here, if you can tell us about what's happening here.
Well, this is actually, because it's a second time at UK Expo and quite a few people have actually had an intro game. In this, we've set up an intro game where you're fighting the Hunter Kingdoms versus the Bellum, which is the 3rd faction to be released in August. So they have an opportunity to see something what's coming up, see its play style, touch the miniatures, see the aesthetics, and actually absorb what the game is going to evolve into.
We have this magnificent war beast here. What can you tell us about him?
One of the thing is that now for the Bellum, they don't really like the dragons, and I think you can see it quite clearly in their lore that one of their prime missions was not just to free themselves from slavery, free themselves from dragons, but actually to make them to actually serve them. So here you see what we call a Hellbringer Drake. The Drake itself has all the armor bolted onto its skin. It's in a state of constant torment. That's actually, unfortunately, something that the Bellum really like to do to dragons. And so pretty much they use them now as beasts of burden, and they use their offsprings, the dragon's offsprings, to now make the mighty war machines.
So are these the plastics from the core box?
Yes, it's some of the plastic from the core box. Actually, there's quite a bit more. There's about 16 of these plastic frames, plastic screws in there. But what you're seeing here is a sample of the brutes over there, the 2 characters and the objective markers, the knight cavalry, and the crossbowmen from the Hunter Kingdoms. So we want people to see the actual plastic. We want them to understand that this is the hard plastic they're accustomed to. They'll be using their plastic glue. There's no special cleaning required, easy assembly, easy painting. And that's why we keep pushing the point for this, to understand what they're getting. And our core box that you're seeing here in the middle is our basically the great deal we want to bring to the end customer and to get them into the world of conquest and playing our game.
I've got to say, even the quality of the retail packaging, guys, is just so nice. It really does just come across as such a slick game. I promised you guys I was going to show you a cavalry piece in plastic. Now I'm going to steal one mini and I will put him back exactly where I find him. So it's in fact I could even just lift him out. Check this out. Now, is this one of the pieces in the core box, or is he a separate hero? Or
in the core box, you get 3 knights, but you only get the banner in the expansion box. Mm-hmm. So the commands are all in the expansion boxes, but the core box does contain 75 miniatures for £70.
Oh my word! All the minis are just really, really. I don't know. There's a robustness about the design aesthetic of this. It just feels like something I want to touch and I want to move around the gaming table, and even on the flag, I'm just so taken by the design choices that have been made on this game. I'm really excited about this one, guys. Really excited. Okay, thank you to the guys at Bellum.
Thank you as well.
It's always a pleasure, absolutely.
Sure.
So June 20th, that's...
June 20th, if we miss a couple of days, forgive us, but there's a lot to happen to be out there for you.
Okay, right, well, we'll keep you posted, guys, but definitely one to watch.